What is up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the Jordan Davis Podcast. I am your host, Jordan Davis, and on today's episode, we'll be talking a little bit of DC today. More of a discussion, more of a in-depth, really talk about the state of DC, particularly about their films, to be honest with you. And I really had something to really think about since the whole, Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, about everything that's going on what Warner Brothers with the whole DC property and what they have planned, what the plan they really have. And I was just really thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I want to do a discussion on the podcast this week about why I believe DC needs to start their own studio and separate themselves for Warner Brothers. So that's going to be the topic for today. But before I get into that, I want to thank everyone that has listened or checked out my videos. And if you're new to the podcast or new to my channel, I talk about DC, Marvel, Star Wars, and any kind of movies in general. I talk all about them. I give reviews on them. I tell them what kind of movies I'm really excited about. And I really like to really engage with people about movies. So if you like that, if you like movies and you're a big movies fans of the movies I just talked about or just general movies. So if you like that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell at the bottom so you know when these videos like this come out. So, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the topic at hand. Now, at the start of the video, I talked about why DC needs to be like Marvel Studios in a separation from Disney. Disney still owns Marvel Studios. They still, Marvel Studios has to get the okay for stuff, but they do not interfere with creating their content. To be perfectly honest with you, it's Kevin Feige that, whatever he decides with how the storylines are going to go and how the characters are going to be used, it's Kevin Feige. He is the man with the plan. And so DC doesn't have that. DC doesn't have the man or woman with the plan. They've announced Jim Lee's kind of like doing all the Kevin Feige. We haven't heard from Jim Lee. We only hear from executives, HBO executives, and Warner Brothers executives. They're saying we have a plan. I'm like, okay, that's cool. What is it? Because you said you were doing a multiverse plan. Then it seems like things are changing. The narrative is changing. We're going to do a multiverse, but we're just not going to focus on that thing that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm like, then what's the use of the multiverse? I mean, isn't that what the beauty of a multiverse is? You can focus on different worlds. Doesn't matter if it's Zack Snyder's Justice League, it can be this world, it can be that world, it can focus on this Superman, it can focus on that Superman, that Batman, focus on Michael Keaton's Batman, you can focus on Ben Affleck's Batman. You have riches of, different versions of characters you can focus on, but you're not going to do it? And I still think this comes down to Warner Brothers does not know how to make a universe. And to be perfectly honest with you, I was kind of skeptical how are they going to make a multiverse when they can't ever figure out one universe, one canon universe they can't get right. So I'm thinking to myself, how are they going to do multiple universes when they can't focus on one? You know what I'm saying? It was just like, okay, Okay, I'm excited, but how on earth are you gonna focus on these many things? I don't know. You know, as a DC fan, I want you to succeed. You know, I want Batman to succeed. I want Superman to succeed. I want all the characters to succeed because I'm a fan of them. I want all their movies to succeed. I want them all to be great. But it's just, when it comes down to it, the problem is, and will always be, it seems to me, until something changes, will be WB, Warner Brothers executives. And I kind of said this on Twitter. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Jordan Davis 1 on Twitter. I said this on Twitter. Marvel is Star Wars. DC is Star Trek. Now, I mean no offense to Star Trek fans. I'm sure you're all great. I'm sure all Star Trek fans are awesome. But let's be honest here. There is one that is popular, extremely popular than the other. And that's Star Wars. Comes to the MCU. There is one thing compared to DC that is popular. That's the MCU. That's Marvel. I mean, if you really think of it, DC had this early success. They had the Batman success. They had the Superman, John Williams success. You know, they had the Christopher Nolan success. But here comes the MCU. Here comes Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios. Each movie with Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, The Avengers, the one movie that changed the landscape of movie making, especially with superhero movies. And if it wasn't for the Avengers, I believe we wouldn't even get close to a Justice League movie. Because I don't believe that Warner Brothers has the creativity and the long storytelling ability to make a Justice League movie. They don't have the right people in place. And that's why I believe that there has to be some way, somehow, they separate themselves from Warner Brothers. Yes, Warner Bros. Will always own DC Comics. You're not going to change that. Unless the most powerful company, Disney, you know, buys DC. I mean, like, that's not going to happen. But, you know, crazier things has happened. I mean, Spider-Man's in the MCU. I mean, so crazier things has happened. Snyder Cut happened, and it was awesome, and people love it. Crazier things has happened. So, you know, Warner Bros. Will always own DC. But if they truly want to be Marvel, if they truly want the success of Marvel, you gotta separate the two. You know? Let DC do its thing. Let there be a clear vision. Let DC Studios, whoever runs that studio, say, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and this. It's going to lead into this one major event, and it's going to be spectacular. And for a while, we had that in Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder had a plan, and you can not like his plan. You don't have to like his filmmaking. But he had a plan, and he had an end goal. And maybe Warner Brothers didn't like his vision because there was an end goal. Because they want this universe to keep on going and going and going and going, like the Energy Bunny. But, you know what, here's the thing. If if you're going to do that, you have to have the right people in place. And executives do not know how to tell stories. They know how to make money. They they look at their spreadsheets. Okay, this is gonna make money. This is gonna make money, and they don't know how to make a leap of faith. They don't care about these characters. They can say they care about them, but they really don't. Let's be honest. They care about these characters making money. They care about put money in their bank account. And that's the difference between Marvel and DC right now. Kevin Feige loves these characters, and he loves movies, and he knows how to make movies. You know? And that's what DC has to find. I don't know if that's Walter Hamada. I don't. So far, I mean, I like Shazam, and I'm excited for Shazam too. You know? And I'm excited for Aquaman too. Excited for the Batman. But, I mean, there's just no clear vision. There's so much politics within DC and Warner Brothers. There's no clear vision. There's no... I don't know what else to say to make it clear. Until they get their stuff right, until they get their stuff together, there is no way they're competing against Marvel. Because that's essentially what DC and Warner Bros. Want to do. They are trying to catch up and compete with Marvel. Even one of the executives said they want to be like Marvel, but different in some kind of way. And like I said in my last video, talking about DC, that's great, you want to be like Marvel, but you gotta be different. You gotta be different in telling your stories. And multiverse, yes, that's great, but you have to allow to open all possibilities. They're just not. And I'll label this in the title of my video. I will say this is the reason why DC will always be Star Trek and Marvel will be Star Wars. Because people, doesn't matter what your opinion of a particular movie, a Marvel, a character, or whatever, people will always see an MCU movie. And they will, you know, always go to the theater for a Marvel movie. Because they feel like they have to, because you never know when's the next great Marvel movie, they don't want to miss it. DC movies, well, you know, it's a hit and miss. And I believe Zack Snyder's Justice League was, I think, the first movie in a very long time of DC when everyone universally can praise that movie and get behind that movie. And so, yeah, I think if Warner Brothers don't get their act together, they gotta separate studios. They're gonna have to make DC a separate studio from Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is just, they're old school. They are. They're trying to keep up, and they just keep falling behind. And that's really the problem with them. And to really, you know, put a bow on this, to be perfectly honest with you, DC Comics Studio, movie studio, that is the best plan. If they don't do that, if they keep doing this old school and not really try to make risk and just try to make easy money, they're gonna, you know, crash and burn or whatever they do, because Marvel will always outdo them. And now I want DC to succeed. Because Marvel wants DC to succeed. If they're the only business in the superhero game is gonna fall. They need competition. They need other, you know, properties like DC, to keep on going. Because if DC keeps on going, Marvel keeps on going. And people will keep coming back to the movie theater and see superhero movies. Because if Marvel is the only superhero movies around, people are going to get bored. And you don't want people to get bored with your movies. And with the genre that you're making. So, I believe not only for DC, for Warner Brothers, but for the superhero genre, it is important that DC Comics becomes their own movie studio, and it's a separate branch from Warner Brothers. And that's what I believe. That's how I think things can start to get better, and maybe, you know, get the right people in that studio. And if things can start, you know, moving forward, you know, get, you know, better management and stuff, maybe DC can start to catch up with Marvel, but also being different at the same time that what Warner Brothers wants. So yeah, that's kind of my take on what DC is going through right now with Warner Brothers, and so yeah. But what do you think? What do you think would fix the problem for DC? Do they need to have a separate studio from Warner Brothers, like Disney or Marvel Studios? What do you think needs to happen here? Make sure to comment below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Just start a conversation, and I really love to know your opinions. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I want to thank all of you who are listening, all of you who are watching the video. And again, if you're new here, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell at the bottom so you know when my videos come out. So until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.